Hey there. So I wanted to do kind of a Pechakucha on our language camp, nēhiyawēwin language camp. I feel that it's more of I can express myself a lot more as opposed to just doing a PowerPoint, and I feel that there's a little bit more benefits to just talking through it as opposed, yeah, like I said, to looking at pictures. And I really um, yeah, there is a lot of new understandings, new learnings for myself, and to express that through just PowerPoint is very limiting. So I wanted to do it this way. Um, so I just started, and we'll get into it. So I attended the nēhiyawēwin language camp on Sturgeon Lake First Nation. Daniel Stone Chudnasiga-san. We had a pipe ceremony when we first showed up. I didn't record that part. But it was really cool to be part of that pipe ceremony anyhow, getting used to each other, getting used to what's being done, um, and familiarizing ourselves through ceremony, right? And from that instance, it was definitely it brought us together, I think, and it just showed that intimate relationship between nēhiyawēwin and spirituality. I know I was supposed to change slides, but I didn't have a slide for that first one. I have one for this, and so this is where we moved to after our pipe ceremony. We went on to the land. One of the people from the reserve, they were there and they were showing us around. They took us medicine picking. So there's the area we went to with lots of medicines, and we went for mint tea. There was a lot, and then we came back to our camp, and he took us for a walk. He took us to go get chaga or fungus, and so we went down this trail, and there was just a real sense, or a surreal sense of richness that with all kinds of things, um, and then we kind of moved on, really really fast, but Vincent Hennique ended up showing us how to he taught us a session. Um, he taught us how to um, set snares. Taught us that like animals will be able to smell our scent on their little highway, which we ended up looking for. I just wanted to play this video just to demonstrate or show a snare. Oh, I guess it wasn't quite a snare, but I just wanted to show that out of all the traps that they brought, right? So that connection with hunting or snaring, right? That goes back for thousands of years. Um, right? And so yeah, like we went for a walk. I seen a butterfly, I seen this rock. What's interesting about this rock is that aside from the baby buffalo and the buffalo there, Pascal Mustus, there's kind of like a glare here, but maybe a visitor, and then there was uh, sap gum or birch, I forget. There's sap and I turned it into gum. But then I went to go on the evening, I went to go paddle around with Darian, and it was really calm. It was really like a sense of sereneness, right? And even this picture, like the two colors, dark and light, um, right? And it just felt like there's such a difference there. Along with this image, we were off to the we were that this image is from the lake, and just want to take a picture from that perspective as opposed to being within, right? So even in that kind of talking, there's a sense of outside and inside work, right? We were able to see the camp from the inside, be within, and then I was able to go outside, right? And then this just goes back to Vincent Hennique's talk. A few things he talked about is TPR, um, took us through the basics, uh, talked about the decade of languages, right? And then even we kind of played a game on how to learn the language a little bit. There's my notes. Um, there's we played a game in Dene, played Dene bingo. So one of our students that speaks Dene took us through the language and took us through different animals, and Dr. Weenie provided prizes, and then Stephen Swan was doing a little lesson to teach the structure and the SRO of Cree. Um, and then so then there's these pictures with our kind of teachers there. Um, Time was spent short with Willie, but we had Lauren Wadidika and his wife and Ben Gar, and then we had Dr. Weenie there, but it was just continual learning, it never stopped. And then these are the things I noted down, that I wrote, there was a lot. And the other thing about it all, though, is that like I was overwhelmed because there's always language teaching. There's consistent language teaching. I would have had a full journal and then I would have forgot it all. But um, we talked about Pimikskawin, Pimiskaskuin, karma, doing bad, it comes back to them. Pass the win. We hick make sure, right? That was from the pipe ceremony, and every day we had this pipe ceremony, and then it was like each day it got deeper in teachings done by Kelly Daniels, and then the other thing is like all the elders were speaking the language too. If we lose our language, we lose our identity. So that's something that Ben Gar was talking to even. I had a story, responses to losing treaty because we don't speak it, developing a bond through language, um, regaining language loss, learning through SRO, hearing, seeing it, saying it all the time, movement. He talked through the structures of Dene, which was crazy because there's verbs for the two people. I wrote some things down. Sach, sakha. And then Curtis Pylon came and talked about nēhiyawēwin maptina tugin. He talked about his experience, um, some ideas that came out of it, being militant about revitalization, the intensity, surviving our languages, thriving. There's the whole thing about language packages, right when there's a birth, right? That's something maybe that could be practical here that we can look at here. Language is demanded, right? How does this look for us? How does these things look for us versus what we've heard about what they do in New Zealand? Protecting without compromise. They make it happen. Students doing the teaching can do a voice memo where it said Cree sentence of the then unseen teachings, the story of the trickster and wolf, right? About the toboggan, um, language at the forefront, right? Language at front, and that's what I felt the greatest thing was just always a language. Um, I was talking to one of the other students. He said that they have a language bowl at the Lakota basketball tournament where they make sentences out of the score, right? So creating something like that. Everything that was done at this camp this past week, I've always tried to figure out how we can make things practical. How can we do things here in Regina? I talked to Darian, deadly Cree teacher. Like, how can we make these things happen here? And the last thing is just like this picture was taken at like 10:30 at night, and so it's just a different kind of perspective, a different understanding of how things are different. And I wouldn't these things learnings wouldn't have been as impactful if we weren't on the land, if we weren't having these things. And like I said, I wanted to do kind of this Pecha Kucha style because you just look at these things and you look at my notes and you only see that, but I wanted to explain it further with this, um, and I'm still like reeling from the lessons that were taught and from the talks, and there's so much, and I'm full. I feel full from this learning experience, and I'm excited to bring it back to my class. I'm excited to take it to people that I work with, and I'm excited to just to work through these things. So, yaho, like say.